Hello, YouTubers. We are fsociety. We have been watching you. Years of exploiting people's injuries, or epic fails, as you like to call it. Sharing illegally downloaded music and movies. Posting your views and opinions on other people's hard work. All for your own twisted form of enjoyment. This is why we at fsociety have decided that you must be educated on what twisted enjoyment actually is, by bringing you Season 2 of Mr. Robot. As you watch the story of Elliot Alderson unfold over the season, you will come to realize that we at fsociety are malicious and hostile. We do not compromise, we are relentless. We will not stop until every tentacle of your enjoyment of other shows is sliced off at the nerve. But we are not without mercy. Our first season was a preview, and our second season was our final warning. Meet all of our demands, or our next season will continue to answer nothing, while your all-consuming questions continue to grow. First, like and share this video with your family and your friends. Second, hit that subscribe button so we no longer have to hack you to keep into contact. And third, do not even attempt to uncover our identities or pay the consequences. This proposal is non-negotiable.
Well, Mr. Robot Season 2 just ended, and holy crap, we got a lot of things to talk about. The first season of Mr. Robot, to me, was one of the most flawless seasons of television I have ever seen. I was hooked on that show from the first frame all the way to the finale. So at the end of Season 1, you find out that Mr. Robot, played by Christian Slater, is actually Elliot's father who is deceased and just a figment of his imagination. Angela now has a corporate job inside of E-Corp. Elliot wakes up after a 3-day blackout after interacting with Tyrell Wellick. F-Society has somehow now completed their hack onto E-Corp. Tyrell Wellick is missing. He has no recollection of those past 3 days. Season 2 pretty much picks up where Season 1 left off. You got Angela slowly climbing the ladder at E-Corp. F-Society is now under the leadership of Darlene. Elliot has separated himself from everybody, now lives at home with his mom, and keeps this really repetitive routine in his life to try to diminish the impact and the hold that Mr. Robot has on his mind. And we have the addition of a new character by the name of Dominique, or Dom as she likes to go by, and she is the FBI agent who is now in charge of taking down and hunting F-Society. Right off the bat, guys, I will let you know this show continues to be one of the most compelling, unique, and crazy experiences that you're going to have with anything on TV. This show is mind-blowing. The acting continues to be awesome across the board. Christian Slater is the best that he's ever been in his career, and I'm so glad that Rami Malek won the Emmy for this. A lot of the ways that this show is presented is what makes it so unique. The music that's in the background is really cool and unique. The way that the camera just holds on one shot for a really long time, the way that they transition for certain scenes, the different crazy elements that they bring in, like the scene where Elliot's walking and then starts to duplicate, and the beginning of the episode, I think it was like episode 8 or 9, where it's like a 90s sitcom. All those things would not work in any show but Mr. Robot. One thing that I love about this show, as much TV and movies as I watch, it's very hard to surprise me, very hard to get ahead of me when I watch things anymore. And Mr. Robot is constantly 10 steps ahead of me. I can never figure out what the hell is going on. I can never predict what's going to happen, what directions it's going to take. It always keeps me guessing, always keeps me on my toes. And some of the directions the story takes in Season 2 are insane. Craig Robinson shows up in this and delivers a performance that I don't think anybody expected him to. When I first saw him, I was like, oh, they're gonna put a little bit of comedy in this season, and he is anything but comedic. He is a dark, sinister character. He reminds me a lot of what Anthony Anderson brought to Season 4 and Season 5 of The Shield. He did damn good in this season. Now, let's talk about that prison twist, because this is what everybody's talking about with this season. Now, when I watched Mr. Robot Season 2, I don't know about you, I pretty much isolated myself from the world whenever I was experiencing this show. I didn't go onto online forums, I didn't read reviews, I didn't watch YouTube videos. I watched it start to finish without really interacting or talking to anybody about this show. And I'm glad I did, because I was blown away by that twist. I didn't see it coming at all. I knew something was off about the way that Elliot was so segregated from everybody, but that's not what I expected was going to happen. It was executed really well, and it totally knocked me on my ass when I saw it and really just ramped me up with anticipation to watch the rest of the season. They take Elliot in a lot of crazy directions this season. Darlene really grows as a character. She really kind of fills in that leadership role. And the character that I loved seeing the most was the new character, Dom. She was a really strong and smart character, and she really played this really cool parallel to Elliot. They're both very isolated people. They're sheltered, they're alone, and there's this really cool duality that plays out there. You know, on one hand, where you have Elliot's isolation brings him into criminal enterprises and hacking and drug abuse, and then you got Dom's isolation that really makes her just feed into her job and make her an unrelenting pursuit for fsociety. Now, as far as the negatives, and unfortunately there are some negatives with this season, I did not care at all about Angela's storyline this season. She's very, pun intended, robotic. She's kind of transitioning into that corporate role, and I know they kind of portray the corporates as the evil people, but I didn't understand her motivations. I didn't know what direction she was heading. The few interactions that she had that were really meaningful, like the scene she had on the train with Elliot was good, and the scene with White Rose was good, but you don't see where those scenes take you. It continues to be a question mark by the season finale. And one character that I wish we could just get away from completely is Joanna. I do not care at all about Tyrell Wellick's wife, and I don't understand why we spent so much time on this woman. It was a little bit mysterious, adding into the whole thing of, is Tyrell Wellick dead or is he not, with her cell phone, and is he calling her, is it somebody else? But by the end, when that whole mystery is revealed, I didn't care. I didn't care who it was. I didn't care that she found out, and whenever she's getting her ass beat at the end, it was just, can we skip past this and get back to Elliot, please? To me, separating all of our main characters this season did not do this season any favors. You know, one of the best things about season 1 is that even though all three of these people have their different agendas, their different lives, their different interactions, their stories are always interwoven and they're always interacting with each other. And we didn't get that this season. You know, Elliot had his own thing going on, fsociety and Darlene had their own thing going on, Angela had her own thing going on in E-Corp, and to me it kind of made the season feel a little bit disjointed, especially when you get episodes like after that big prison twist, we spend an entire episode away from Elliot. And all of everybody's thinking is, what's going on with Elliot? Why are we focusing on this? As much as I love the story arc with Ray and Elliot and what Craig Robinson brought to that role, I felt like it was resolved way too quickly and way too easily. You know, whenever he lets him on the computer and Elliot contacts the FBI and he's having that conversation with him and he's like, I knew exactly what you're going to do when I let you on that computer. How much time do I have? Just to me, you went through so much effort to make sure that your motivations are kept secret, that website's kept secret, and you go through all this trying to get somebody to bring it back and pursuing Elliot and persuading him and befriending him, that you kind of just let it all fall to pieces over nothing very quickly, and it felt a little bit rushed and a little bit convenient to me. A couple of nitpicks I had too, which is really just things that I missed that they did style-wise in season 1. I missed seeing Elliot hack everybody. I thought that was a really cool piece of his personality where he's so isolated and he's so antisocial that that's his way of getting out there and meeting people, is by invading their lives on the computer. I didn't get a whole lot of that this season. And the thing that I liked a lot in the first season, which is a really subtle detail, is he always referred to E-Corp as Evil Corp. And because we're getting the story through Elliot's eyes, he's our unreliable narrator, anytime somebody else would refer to E-Corp, they too would say Evil Corp. And I thought that was a really cool style element, and it didn't carry over into this. They just say E-Corp. But to me, the big letdown of this season was the finale. They had all these stakes built up throughout the season. They had so much tension, so many things that were hanging in the balance. They had all these questions raised, some questions that were even hanging over from season 1 that we still haven't had answers, and they didn't deliver answers for any of them. And I feel like that's going to be a big issue with this show for a lot of people. You know, when The Killing did this, they had a 24 episode season 1, and it was promising the identity of this killer, and when they didn't reveal that killer and everybody had to come back for season 2, their ratings got cut in half. And I'm really afraid that something like that's going to happen to Mr. Robot, because like I said, you got questions from season 1 that still haven't even been answered yet. And that's something that's really going to frustrate people. It's going to compel a lot of people. It's going to make people think that this show is absolutely insane and one giant mind fuck. But you're going to have a lot of people who are going to get pissed off. They're not going to put in the time to come back. And I hate that. Just to me, this wasn't a great season finale. The direction that they took Elliot with, revealing that Tyrell Wellick was alive was something that a lot of people pretty much expected. The fact that they keep mentioning Tyrell this whole season. And the way that they played out that scene that was very reminiscent of Fight Club with him believing maybe Tyrell is in his mind, but maybe not, and then he ends up getting shot. I really didn't feel anything. I'm like, okay, they're not gonna kill Elliot, so this isn't anything shocking to me. We didn't get any answers with what happened with Angela and White Rose. You know, he had that scene at the end with her talking to Tyrell like she knows everything that's going on now, which is a gigantic question mark on top of the pile of question marks that we have. One question mark that I do like that we have from the end of this season is what is gonna go on now that Darlene knows that FBI pretty much knows everybody that is in fsociety and everybody that is attached to this hack. Is this going to pit Elliot versus Darlene next season? That could be a really cool storyline. I personally am still compelled by this show. I'm still addicted to it. I cannot wait for season 3. But even me, as a huge fan of this show, got very aggravated at the lack of answers that we got at the end of season 2. I feel like this show is focusing too much on how things are going to look at the end game. Whenever 5 or 6, 7 seasons, however much we get of Mr. Robot, they're confident that whenever you see the big picture, the story front to end, you'll be able to make sense of everything. Season 2 is going to stand on its own because you know where things are heading, but that's not the way TV works. Each episode, each season has to stand on its own to a degree. You can't just let everybody wait till the end game. It's not like Netflix where all 5 seasons of Mr. Robot's down at once and you can just watch it start to finish. Now we gotta wait a year to get answers that we've already been waiting a year plus for. So to wrap all this up, guys, season 2 of Mr. Robot was a damn good season of television. Not quite as good as season 1 to me, because season 1 was flawless in my opinion, but a damn good season nonetheless. I liked some of the directions they took. I loved the new character Dom, but I was disappointed in the way that they separated our characters this season, the way that they decided to take a few characters, especially Angela, and I was really aggravated at the end by the lack of answers that we got. And I hope that they don't do that too much, especially the next season, or people are going to start to drop off on this show. So even with all of my criticisms of this season, Mr. Robot continues to be one of the best experiences on TV, and this show is absolutely mind-blowing to me. So absolutely, whenever this hits the shelf, go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Mr. Robot Season 2? Did you like the prison twist? Are you aggravated at the lack of answers we got in the finale? Put all that in the comment section below and we'll talk about it. Like and share this video and hit that subscribe button, that way you get to come back and see me next time. But if that's not soon enough to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.